Hey everyone, Encore Performance here back with another video. I'll be linking the chain of the 3 campaigns we've already done by completing Sforza, the Italian campaign as an Immortal. Of course, it's been a little while since our last one, but hopefully we've still got it. We'll jump right into the first mission, Mercenaries and Masters, and find out. In the first mission, we are given a simple objective. We must simply escape from Brescia. However, Michelato, one of our relatives, orders us to escape. Unfortunately, our troops mishear him and believe he asked us to capture the settlement. So that's exactly what they're going to do. Using our ally Pink's castle, we can garrison within it and heal, as Pink is also allied with Teal, so his castle won't deal damage. But we can jump out, deal a little bit of damage to the garrison, jump back in, and heal, because we have all the time in the world, as no triggers will go off, which will get everyone to start producing units till we leave the settlement. So we will repeat this over and over again with hand cannons, Cavaliers, Conduetros, until eventually we're able to capture the entire settlement. You can see our units running through it, showing how it belongs to us now. However, now that we can control the settlement, we can hunt and check if there's any units remaining, which unfortunately there aren't. Teal's only still alive because of a trigger that'll summon some units within the settlement when we leave, but we can make it easier right now by destroying what buildings remain, such as towers and gates. This will enable us and our ally to enter the settlement and hunt for that last little remaining garrison that'll spawn once we leave. So we can do this by simply switching green to neutral and damaging what buildings of his that are a priority, such as towers and gates. Then we'll exit the settlement and receive a small base camp in the south of the map. From this small base camp, we'll be able to train up some hand cannoneers just in case our ally isn't capable enough, but for the most part, we're just going to use our cavalry units to lure Teal's units towards red, since he seems to tell us he's the best. As you can see, do not get in our way. But we're going to step a little bit in his way. With our willingness to comply, we're actually going to grant Red's gift by luring a bunch of units over to him. That way he can have all the glory to prove that to Visconti. As you can see, his Cavaliers are at first going to blow past them. They heard there was fresh Italian wine in the settlement, but eventually they will turn around and finish off Teal's units, granting us the easy victory with no deaths. And the "You are victorious" screen comes up, and we'll watch a little bit of a cinematic.
Hated us, but I do not blame him. His own brother was murdered by a condottiero on the steps of a church. Visconti saw Sforza's successes as a threat and plotted to have him killed.
See, the issue with that cinematic is it's much like the internet. Not everything is true, because Visconti plans to have us killed. But we're immortal. He can't, as I just proved by doing that mission with 47 kills and 0 deaths. Now we'll hop into mission 2. To begin this scenario, we start with a small camp, and we'll have to capture 3 settlements, starting with the closest one, by putting a relic within the monastery inside the city, which will grant everything inside to us, as well as castle age and a small trickle of resources. We use a fire ship to distract their only galley, and then 2 demos to take it out. This said fire ship will then attack a house, luring all of these pink arbalests inside the city, away from the city gates. Then we'll send off a transport with the monk carrying the relic inside of it. While all the arbalests run down to the south towards that fire ship, the monk ejects, runs towards the monastery, well, as fast as he can carrying all that gold, and garrisons it inside, granting us all of Pink's units, the castle age, a small trickle of resources, and these handy arbalests. As we plot our next attack onto Teal, we can use the monk to put the relic inside our own monastery for passive gold income. Very much like how we use the fire ship, we can use these Cavaliers to lure a small portion of Teal's units towards our base, where our arbalests sit within the gate walls where they can easily take out these pikemen. We'll continue to repeat this on this side, as well as on the other gate, to lure as many units outside the settlement as we can before we make our move. We will then use 2 demo ships, operated by magicians of course, to take out this Teal fire ship. That way we don't have to deal with it later, as of course I can't delete units throughout the scenario. Then a war galley will try and break through the seawalls to get his attention. However, this will be useless, much like the Italian Navy throughout World War II. The eventual strategy we'll use is a Cavalier to outmicro the towers, while a battering ram knocks down the gate. Then we'll send the monk in with the relic to capture the city. As you can see, the Cavalier is going to micro, just back and forth, avoiding those towers, while the battering ram begins to knock down the gate. After destroying the gate, a siege tower full of conduetros. We'll take the tower and castle fire. As our monk, again, as quick as he can, carrying all that gold, will dash with the relic towards the monastery. It is a close one with the siege tower, but it does manage to get away. Along with all the units we've captured, we'll put in the castle, and our monk we have right next to the transport ship, just in case he starts getting attacked, he can hop in there. We'll send all of our units home to the city that does still have a gate on it, as that's going to be needed due to the fact that red units can just pour into these ones, as they do now. You can see some of the conduetros we had been given from Teal were outside the city outskirts. They do manage to make it back towards the castle, but on very low HP. Then the castle cleans up all these red units. Our next opponent's going to be green. Looking at his city, we can see no towers, and the monastery is actually out of reach from the castle. However, we'll have to take out this red army base first. We can do this by using a treb within the safety of our walls, and this will stop his production of ships. After that, we'll have to clean up what ships of his already remain in the sea, as there's quite a few. Only once all of those said ships have been destroyed, we can capture these gray units here. Of course, we don't need to, and it will fill up our pop space, but we have a use for some of them. After constructing a treb, as this settlement granted us Imperial Age, we'll use it to take out Red's dock, which it does quite easily. Then, we'll use Calviers to finish off the stable. While that was going on, we trained up a small group of magicians, who are going to take out that dock with their magic while the Calviers take up the ship's fire. Now we capture our cousin's forces, or not cousins, my bad. I'm used to Michelado as my Robin. We'll capture those loyal forces to us and use them in our siege of green. We'll lure some of his Calviers out first, just as we did with Teal, and these can come up towards our city where we have a large group of Genoese crossbowmen, perfect for taking out cavalry, and they also do a good job against these champions. With the east side of his settlement cleared and a large force, we can begin our move onto his gates. We'll station our Genoese crossbowmen in front of our siege, which will be used to knock down the gate, along with the organ guns we captured from our relative behind them, as those will help out against infantry. Much like a scene out of a Hollywood movie, our main unit will attack the gate while his army stands behind them with a holy symbol of God boosting them and siege raining down all around them. Of course, all jokes aside, we'll pack up our trebuchet and send it to our walled gate, then lure out what units remain within the city back towards our Genoese crossbowmen on the bridge. As you can see, they really do a good job of killing those Calviers. We kill off a couple of strugglers hiding behind a university we'll capture when we take the city, which will be necessary for our upgrades. Then attack a couple with our main unit before sending the monk up. Using Molesta in front as a body shield, we can use our monk, put the relic within the castle. Of course, the castle couldn't reach him from that angle. And then train up an army and make our route move onto Red's main city. We'll see who's in whose way now, Piccinino. After our first few volleys of trebuchet shots, an angry red army will arrive, but once again, our crossbows take this out easy. We then clear up the entire east half of the settlement before we can use our trebuchets in a clever maneuver to, well, first take out this hand cannon, then attack around the trees here, opening a new spot for us to attack the settlement from where our units are a lot safer. After this, we can pack up our trebuchets and send them home. This is just due to the fact that a couple of them were low and I didn't want to take any chances and we have pop space to spare. So I'll send them down to the city we captured at the very start of the game and construct some new ones, as you can see on screen. These will follow our army once more as it travels towards Piccinino's settlement. We must first take out one tower before we are then able to cut off Piccinino's entire hand cannon supply from the settlement by taking out his archery range, then do the same to his Calvier production by taking out his 2 stables. This leaves just his small camp in the southwest of the map. This camp is small, but it's filled with units, and with 3 sides to exit, they can easily hop out and counterattack, so there's a big chance we could lose some crossbows here. So it's better if we just drain the settlement and make a quick, rapid attack with petards, which is exactly what we'll do. As you can see, Sigmondo is going to lure all these units up towards our massive Genoese crossbows. Then we'll take our petards. They'll first break through an aqueduct, then take out a barracks and a blacksmith. This is half of his production buildings. Well, the barracks. The blacksmith's just to deal with our units, that way they don't count as deaths. Of course, all you saw on screen was magic. We then deal with Red's Calviers before launching another bait and attack. All of Red's Calviers and hand cannons further behind chase after our main hero unit as our petards wait patiently on the bridge. We can see the hand cannons go walking by us, but once again, they seem to be completely blind. Perhaps it's because of the caps they wear. We take out the archery range and the stable, then use our remaining petard on an outpost so that he cannot be killed. With one final cut down of his cavaliers up in the north of the map, we are deemed victorious. We quickly go to check the statistics, as I was concerned a petard might have died, but thankfully we're alright, with 414 kills and 0 losses without a single villager built. Much like Alaric, except Alaric was a lot more grander with her kills. We hop into the third mission, Projectile Sun. This one's going to be a bit difficult, as we're going to have some annoying units we're going to have to keep alive. With 2 fishing ships and 2 galleys located right on the water, and Piccinino has many docks. However, we can wall off our economy, and if we place a castle in the right spot, we'll be able to defend these ships, hopefully throughout the scenario, keeping them alive. We'll place one here on this bottom dock we start with, and then we'll place another on the top dock. And forgive my mistake, it's 4 galleys, not 2. It takes a couple tries, but if we position them in the right place and put them on no attack stance, enemy warships will actually focus our docks over them, and as long as our castles do their job, they'll be a-okay. The first one goes up just in time as some red units begin to arrive from the south, along with a war galley. We'll also build a university, that way we can get our techs for it. As a red enemy monk appears, of course we are men of God as well, we attempt to warn him. That's not the Vatican he's walking towards, but due to his age, he cannot tell and is cut down by our ruthless archers within the castle. Then, we can use one of our own monks to lure some red ships into our castle's fire, due to the fact that they can range the dock outside of where we're shooting. We can then use Sforza, the man himself, to take out an enemy bombard cannon. With his hate for gunpowder, not that that's historically accurate, but it appears to be so in this scenario, he'll first cut down a bombard cannon and then move towards a hand cannoneer. After taking Sforza and a small number of petards, we can finish the attack we've already started on Red's small little camp here, which will stop our pressure on the north for the most part. Well then, a couple of villagers will construct this town center here. This was not intentional, I just wanted gold, but you're going to see it works out really well for us. Using the town center full of villagers to cut down units and our bombard cannon to take out his own bombards, we can bring up a trebuchet and actually range his castle. When I was first filling this town center, I thought it'd be just for gold. However, our villagers are very fierce, and from within the town center, they've cut down many red Italian units. We'll replace his gate with one of ours, sealing him off, allowing our siege to get a lot of damage, wiping out that mountain camp. We'll take a small force of demos and take out one of the 5 red docks. This is good for us. Then we're going to send another batch to take out another dock. Once again, just to clarify, these demo ships technically don't count as a kill as long as they're used on something. If the statistics said so, then we say so. As you can see, we used that last one on some fishing ships, which definitely isn't a war crime. We now send out a large force of cannon galleys, having taken out as many docks as we can with just demos. We'll take out one of the 5, leaving just 2 remaining. One is hidden behind this castle that we've just destroyed. We'll take it out, 1 more left, and once we have that, we'll have complete naval superiority, and we'll be able to bombard his main settlement. He will of course try and rebuild these docks, but since they'll all be in the same spot, it's easy for us to counter if we have naval superiority. We'll take what once was his island fortress, seal it off ourselves, and construct our own castle along with a bombard tower. From here, we'll be able to send out tribes and units to completely wreak havoc on the city. Once our defenses have been fully constructed and gone up, we can see they're already putting work in as they cut down a large number of hand cannons, if you count 3 as large. We'll castle creep up towards what remains of Red's economy, and with these castles, once his town center goes down, we'll easily win the scenario. After Piccinino gives a little speech and more empty threats, our ships will do a little sail around, we'll wait patiently, as long as he can finish talking. His head's almost as big as the lake in the center of the map. Until finally, the "You are victorious" comes up, we'll hit continue, and check 381 kills with 0 losses. Once again, proving Visconti, we can do this without dying to him. We'll now go into mission 4. This mission would appear difficult from a distance, however if we play it right, it'll be easy. There's 3 cities, each with a castle in the center, that will resign once we destroy their castle. First is Venice, in the center of the map, on a river. Then, we have Yellow, up in the north, completely landlocked, with no docks, which will make him easy to hold off. And then Green, who's a settlement who is as well landlocked, but has ports up along the water. There's also a settlement to the east that we can capture if we send units over. There are two bridges on the map, one connecting us to green, and then one from green connecting us to teal and yellow. Those bridges are blocked by barricades. However, if we never destroy them, the enemies will never be able to cross them, making us safe on our island. We can begin by taking out one of Teal's docks with a trebuchet from afar, using a castle to defend it. This is critical because if we leave Venice for too long, they'll begin to construct cannon galleons, which will in fact be an issue for our island. We then use a cannon galleon to destroy one dock, then fire on a tower along Venice's shore, giving us access to that third and final dock. Speaking of docks, green has 3 as well, and we're about to take one out using some petards we landed with a transport ship. These are, of course, as mentioned, all performed by professionals who have been trained by magic. Green's going to chase one, however we can get it into the transport ship and evacuate it to safety. We'll then do the same to a second one of Green's docks, which means if we take out just one more, he'll be unable to attack us navally, which will be very important. Yellow will try and send some bombards, however if we use demo ships right, we can take them out easily. We then finish off that third teal dock with a cannon galleon, leaving him completely vulnerable to naval attacks. Of course, unless he tries to use organ guns from the shore, but those are going to be very ineffective. We'll use Sforza to capture a settlement to the east, where we can quickly gather some resources, namely stone, as our main island's out of them, before we are forced to retreat due to an attack from Teal. We'll grab this gold, because it can be traded in for stone at our market, before evacuating to the transport ships. If we wish to take out green, we'll have to do it with precision and diversion. We'll construct a castle on the west part of his map to lure over all the units on the left side. This is going to be crucial for our next move. I'm using bombard cannons in my transport ship instead of trebuchets due to the fact that when I made this there was a bug that trebuchets couldn't enter and exit transport ships. As you can see, we construct another castle here, which once again is going to be all part of the diversion play. If he's attacking somewhere else, it leaves a spot for us to further attack him. You'll see I consider a castle here, but I've already tried this and it didn't work. So I'm going to go even more far east, walling in these castles to prevent a couple of champions from entering, and then his gate. With 2 castles up and our bombards in a good position, we easily take down his castle, knocking out our first opponent. As he resigns, we get this very satisfying crumble of the first half of the buildings within the settlement, then the second half. Now we have to plot our next moves for how we'll conquer Venice. Unlike what we did with green, a diversion strategy won't work due to the fact that yellow is aiding with land forces as well, and 1 or 2 castles will just get overwhelmed too quickly. So instead, we'll just have to castle crawl while supporting them from the sea with cannon galleons, hopefully allowing us to wipe out his bombards before they can deal too much damage. We'll mix in some bombard towers too to slowly move up to the front. These are also going to be helpful for taking out the many cavaliers due to their high damage. I go to use a trebuchet on Teal's castle, but it can't reach, so I take the chance. I unload bombards and send them for the castle. I've done this many times beforehand and it has never worked, but I guess we've managed to clear out all of the nearby units, and they managed to bring it down, leaving just yellow as our final enemy. Yellow is going to be the toughest to take out, but also the easiest. With no allied support, we can focus singularly on him, as well as a lot of territory for us to boom in. However, when we look at his city, it's isolated up in the north, and the castle is pretty much blocked off, meaning we have to go through further defenses and probably take out those production buildings too. We won't have naval support either to deal with his siege. However, there's a bit of a bug I've discovered that we can use, but more on that later. Throughout our siege and advancement of defensive buildings upon yellow, we're going to be needing a lot of stone. With none to very little left on the map, a good way to get it is purchasing it throughout the market, but this requires gold. So we'll trade with green's market, which is still left, and also mine the small amounts that are left near in the east. The small bug I've discovered is that the enemy actually, they're bombard cannons. They're simps. They don't want to attack bombard towers. They'd rather go for castles. So they will roll right into the bombard tower's range to attack the nearest castle, meaning as long as we do a pattern of castle, bombard towers, castles, bombard towers, our bombards can easily wipe them out, making this a very easy advancement and no need for naval support. Another benefit to our use of bombard towers, they actually have a pretty heavy damage against buildings. As you can see on screen, a yellow villager is going crazy microing. He takes some damage there, but left, right, till finally he is cut down. Our archers are just better. You can see our last row of defenses being built. From here, we're just going to construct siege, and pull up our bombards. This combined is going to be able to take out Yellow's castle, winning the game. Much like the previous scenario, we must sit through a couple speeches, but then we are deemed victorious with 895 kills and 0 deaths. This was by far the toughest scenario throughout the game, and now onto a far easier one. We must be quick about how we start this scenario. We'll immediately send 4 villagers towards the Savoyards, who are the biggest threat as they'll be the most aggressive, then 1 to build a university, and then a castle in the Venetians' base. We do trust them, just not enough. Of course, the stone we're building all these castles with is from the Venetians, but there's just something about them that's a bit off. Sforza is going to do some great micro, or just walk in front of this green tower, allowing our units to quickly wall themselves in. This is going to be crucial, as the earliest we can take the Savoyards out is the best time to do it. As soon as the castle goes up, we'll have to build a trebuchet, which will take out their town center. As our trebuchet is constructed, we can observe the fact that Green is already making a crazy amount of knights from his newly built stables and blacksmith. If we leave him to get fully post-Imperial Age with Frankish paladins, he'd be a threat. But this way, it's very easy. Our trebuchet goes off, takes out the town center, and he instantly resigns. He starts deleting buildings almost instantly. While this has been going on, the Venetians have been very naughty. As you can see, they've betrayed us. However, we have a castle in the center of their base, and a trebuchet which can fire on it. With all their military units killed and the trebuchet under half HP, they resign. Red is a simpler opponent to take out, as they're very defensive. They do have a large city though, but if we look at the map, we can see we could board from the water, take out the castle quite easily, and if I just double check the objectives, we see that once we take out their castle and build a new one of ours in its spot, the rest of the city will be granted to us. Of course, there is the outer garrison to worry about. But if we quickly take a look at that, we'll see it's a very small, pathetic, fragile economy. We'll build a dock at home to save time there and get all of our upgrades, then scout out the area. We've got our 2 towers marked, and we see the water, which is just prime real estate, perfect for us to build a dock. We'll send 4 villagers after using our 2 monks to collect the 2 relics on the map, which is again passive income. Our 4 villagers will garrison inside the bombard tower, then exit while it deals damage. We'll then wall in our docks, along with bombard towers to guard it from outer units. These docks are going to construct 1 transport ship and 5 cannon galleys. These cannon galleys will be instrumental in taking the settlement. After taking out a couple of towers, they'll eventually get Red's castle. They'll then clean up the rest of the towers. We're facing a little bit of opposition in the manner of scorpions and the odd bombard cannon, but again, with some easy micro, it's nothing to be concerned about. With the towers gone, we can now focus on the walls where our villagers will board. They'll unload, dash forward to cover Red's gate with one of our own, and then begin construction of the castle that'll give us the entire city under our control with no real fighting needed. As the castle goes up, we are instantly deemed victorious. I suppose that garrison outside was nothing to worry about, with 139 kills and 0 units lost. That is the Italian Sforza campaign on the hardest difficulty, finished as an Immortal, and I accidentally had some of the missions on fast speed, making them even harder. You can see we get the city but not the units inside. It's no deal though, because we immediately win. Thank you guys for watching very much. If you guys join the Discord, you can let me know what scenario you want me to do next. I'm hoping to try and finish off what remains of Europe. Have a good one, guys. Encore out.